Good morning. How you doing? Can you see me? Is it important? Is anything important? Uh-oh. That's not going to work, is it? Is that going to work? No. Is this going to work? Oh, for fuck's sake. I'm a professional, you know. Oof, professional lunatic. Pardon me. Good morning. Friday, January 31st, 2025. The end of the first calendar month, if you're following the calendar. If you're following on the clock, it is now 5:55. Oh, 3 5s. There used to be a cigarette brand, I think. Things happening in my peripheral vision. Okay. Excuse me. I woke up this morning. It was 2:54. Couldn't get back to sleep. Tried everything. Yeah, you know, I am a man, I am a boy, whatever that means, but I tried everything, couldn't get back to sleep. So I got up and I watched a terrible movie, and I watched a podcast by my friends. I consider them friends, even though I haven't met in person Danny. I've met Emily, who do Word Salad, but they do Words podcast together. And they're really interesting to watch and listen to. And they're in Word Salad, they cover topical things that are going on, you know, in the political spectrum. They poke fun at it, and that's good, because it really is. I mean, it really is for everybody. I mean, everybody must now start to recognize, for me, I mean, I'm just saying that I hope everyone can recognize the absurdity. I mean, the absolutely absurd, ridiculous spectacle of politics. I mean, I've known about it for a very long time. That doesn't make me any wiser. It just makes me sad that other people, will continue to follow fools. I mean, that's ultimately what you're doing, because if you don't understand the self-serving attitude of most politicians, and then understand that you're as equally powerful as them as a human being, they just decide that they want to wear a cap of office. You know, I am the official. And it's like, well, who makes you official? You know, I mean, it really is crazy. I forgot what I entitled this, because, I know, Betrayal and Abandonment. You can't be betrayed or abandoned by somebody who doesn't care for you. If they don't care for you, you already know that your trust is going into a place where if they betray you or they abandon you, then you're the fool. You're putting your trust where it should not be, and that's a big word, trust. So betrayal by whom? You know, who am I? I mean, it's you have to go to the big picture, which is, you know, is the Queen or the King or the president or your local governor or your mayor, or are these officials, are they truly operating with what they're actually doing is they're using stupid words to manipulate you to support them. It's it's what foreign diplomats used to call diplomatic immunity. They can do anything they want and get away with it because you've put them in office. You gave them their power. You acquiesced to their better judgment on many things, many things, laws and rules and regulations. All of these things are, excuse me, all of these things you put outside of yourself as if you have no authority over it. And you're the author. Remember, you're writing your own story. Your life is your story, and you write your own story. And it may sound absurd, but I've always recognized that. But a lot of people are suddenly, and I mean, it's happening suddenly for a lot of people. And of course, the shock is going to have them reeling for a while. They've forgotten how to make decisions based upon their own their own intelligence, their own recognition, their own intuition. They've abandoned all those and said that those will take care of me. This will take care of me. Now we all need each other, so there has to be some people you trust. The trouble is, once you've had that veil ripped off and you're in some form of shock, you end up trusting nobody. And then because you trust nobody, you can't make a decision on your own because you've always trusted the others, A lot of my friends that I follow on podcasts, they've been warning about, you know, this is going to happen soon and this is going to happen soon. And it's like, well, nobody can truly predict the future, but we can all have an idea of where it's going to go. If you've got a bunch of automatons electing people who don't care for them, who are in a self-interest group, who want control over you, well, you're giving them that control. Do you see the way that puts you in a loop? I have a friend going through a very difficult decision at the moment with medical care, and it's all coming down to a financial equation being neck and neck with a health equation, and it's like they're racing for a, but neither of them are the authority. The person having the medical procedure is the person that needs to make the decision whether to go ahead with the medical procedure or not. And then after that, which medical professional she trusts or he trusts or whatever, this. So we're always going to be pushed into a decision. And over the last 5 or 6 years, I've ended up not trusting doctors and nurses very much at all. There are a few that I've talked to, a few that I've talked to about I'm choosing you as my doctor rather than you ruling over me as your patient. When you tell me this is what I need to test you for, and you test for it, and then you look at the results, and then you look at the results, and you become very aware that in a lot of cases those test results are in a narrow parameter that makes you feel unwell. So the doctor is going to make you feel unwell because the parameters are changed. We're all individuals. I mean, I have a friend who's got super high blood pressure, super high. And he's trying to alter his diet, which is a good idea because he has a very poor diet. And that's brought it within a parameter, but it's still very, very high. So I said to her, how are you feeling? So I feel pretty good. And I'm like, well, maybe you're just naturally, you within your person, you have a natural your natural blood pressure is on that scale. And the doctors say, oh, you need to be within these parameters. Well, that makes them be able to give you the medication. And see, we end up with what comes first. I mean, one of the colloquial sayings from when I was a child was, you're putting the cart before the horse. And I always found that kind of a good one because I loved horses, and I liked being a jockey, and I could see how I could I have a visualization of that saying. It's like you cart goes behind the horse, it's like you're putting the cart before the horse. And that's what's happening, is we're getting diagnosed and manipulated by statistical analysis. If you vote for this guy, you have more of a chance of getting this. If you support this guy, you're going to have more of a chance. But they make the statistical analysis within the parameters of what it is they're trying to sell you. So it's really tough. Now we've got all this collected information collated by statisticians. They twist the statistics. We know that, right? We know. I mean, the voting thing, all of that. And again, legalese, the other side of it. I've been following a person called Brandon Williams for a while. He's very funny guy. But he's looking at the legalese, and specifically American legalese, and how America was set up, and how certain words and certain phrases and the way in which the law has been built around these words and phrases that were, the start of United States of America independence. Brandon Williams, I think his site, no, I know his site is called onestupidfuck.com, because he plays the fool, but is actually incredibly knowledgeable on law. But it might be, again, a matter of who do you trust? His research I trust. His words I trust, because he's funny and he makes me laugh. So that's good. But I saw him in an interview with another friend of mine, or person I know. I don't know whether fucking name dropping. I'm not going to name drop this person. The reason I'm not going to name drop this person is because he's just gone through a legal situation himself, and yet he seems to have very little grasp of what Brandon at onestupidfuck.com explained to him, and he had to keep repeating phrases over and over. And my friend has just been through a very strange and legal case because he was part of the J6 group of people that's just had a pardon for their part in the J6, whatever you want to call that, protest or rally or whatever it is, but the charges have been dropped, but he's been ankle braceleted and on probation since then, and has now been freed. But he needs to understand his legal position is not one of stability, because the one hand gives and the other hand takes away. You see, that's always the way in which government operates. If it benefits them to let you off of a charge that you were under arrest for, if it benefits them, they'll give you a pardon to make them feel good. It's not about you. It's not about your freedom. So your undying support for that side of the political spectrum is only based on a personal and somewhat manipulative idea that they are, that they want to to make themselves seem magnanimous when they're not. They're not magnanimous. The governments of the world are not there to benefit you, benefit themselves. And if they benefit you accidentally in order to lift themselves up, then yeah, that's a stroke of luck. If they arrest you, then it's not such a stroke of luck. And one side will play the other, but it's not really they need each other, and they support each other, because as long as they maintain power, it doesn't matter whether it's this side or this side, as long as they maintain the power structure. I help people as much as I can. I try my best, but they have these issues, and they're called betrayal and abandonment. And the betrayal and abandonment, from whom, by whom, if you're only just finding out that you've been duped, then you're going to look around for somebody who's going, whoa, yeah, that person did it, So I do get a lot of prods and pokes, but I don't mind, because I'd rather people be fully awake to the whole situation and in somewhat shock than have them completely asleep at the wheel and following idiots who will take them into more and more war, because the same template is used over and over. Conflict, war, conflict, war, conflict, war. Feed the war machine, feed the war. It's like, it's constant. And you can go down all the blame avenues you want, but the blame game is over. The blame game is over for many of us. Has been for me for a long time. But the point is, do I get drawn into arguments with people who are just recognizing that there's no excuse for their behavior anymore. Oh, it's because you're not a Christian. That was a good one on me. I thought that was really well done. Somebody, it's because you're not a Christian. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not, but I'm also not a Muslim or not a Jew. I'm not a Buddhist. I'm not an atheist. I'm not agnostic. I do believe in the Creator. No idea who it was, is, or will be. Because before I was born, the Creator was here, because I came into a world that was created. Whilst I am born, I'm living within the creation. And in the future, I might, just might, meet the Creator. But all of those things are outside my purview. I mean, I see a lot of things in my peripheral vision, but I don't see that any one entity is going to be my saving grace or was my creator. It's not any one. It's an indescribable thing. I mean, we put names on it all the time. I often say that love is God. Why? Because I think love is the most powerful emotion that a human can feel. It's the most powerful thing in the world. Unconditional love is absolutely the most powerful thing in the world, because it doesn't have an agenda. It just is. It's unconditional. There's no conditions on it. It's love. So I say love is God, because they're both equally as mysterious as each other and can't be explained. I mean, can't truly be explained. You have to feel them. They can't be put into words. It's, I read way too much. I'm a very mentally driven human. I read and I educate and I learn, and then I unlearn, because that process is proven to be not the best way to go forward. I learn, I unlearn, every day I greet the day with love, because that's the only way I can see of my advancement, my personal advancement. And whether the collective goes along with that, I hope so, because unconditional love allows creativity to blossom and grow. And creativity is key for me and for many people. I have friends who suffer from deep, dark depression, and when they're in their creative flow, I see the black cloud they're under lift, and they don't stay in that creative flow long enough to feel the full benefit of it, but they do see moments of clarity. So that's it. If you're suddenly shocked by betrayal or abandonment, you have to look very carefully at by whom, for what. I mean, it could be that you believed in something that's not real, because it's an unreality. And that's a tough one for anybody who's lived their whole life according to a set of principles and rules that they followed all their life. It's very difficult, but it's worthwhile, because once you're through that veil of secrecy that these powerful decision makers that are telling you what to do and who you are and what you're doing, that once you see through that veil, you become aware of your own responsibility, And then your own responsibility, although challenging because you've been told what to do, it becomes empowering, and you must empower yourself. I keep mentioning Danny Katz and Emily C. Moyer, and the reason I keep mentioning them is because they push through the veil in real time, and they help people understand that it's an illusion. And sure, fantasy is a fun thing, imagination is a fun thing, but if you completely commit to the illusion of the control system, then you're acquiescing to it. You're going along with it. Well, stop going along with it. See how much difference it makes to your life, individually, collectively. Just stop going along with the people who say, I know better than you. And they challenge. They're very good. Danny and Emily are very good. Danny's book, The Language of Betrayal, well, she has pop propaganda as well, and quantum languaging. And she has a lot of books that are all aimed at creating a better dialogue between humans to understand who they are, so as they can operate from a sense of authority themselves. A lot of people talking about sovereignty, self-sovereign, and it's like, well, we all need each other. So I think we have to just embrace the idea that sovereignty is something that you enact. It's not the law changes it, and yes, you can pay for legal fiction, piece of paper, a certificate saying you are your own ruler. But if you're already your own ruler, you don't need a piece of paper, do you? What do you need a certificate for? So I mean, as much as I love Brandon Williams and the work he does, he's funny as fuck, and all his legal advice is free at his website, onestupidfuck.com. And there's humor in it, so it's good for me, because he points at the absurdity of the legal mess that we've got ourselves into, this compliance with rules and regulations, what time to get up in the morning, what time to go to bed at night. One that I completely and utterly ignored last night because my body told me to wake up at pre 3 a.m. It's just bleh. But I'll have a nap later and catch up. I think we need to turn off government for a while. Just turn it off for a bit. See how well we do without it. Make decisions. Come from the heart. Really, come from the heart. Be kind, be caring, be loving. I mean, give that a go. Have a go at that. All right. Right, that's it. I'm going to go now. Cheers then. I didn't expect anybody to pop up in the chat. This is YouTube. Hope they let me post it. Let's see. Going live. Love you.